with both brothers.
Yes, Your Honor, I did.
Want to know where he come from, who he is. Uncle Ronnie came up to me and said, you know you're my son, right?
Mr. Ellis, you are pretty confident who your father is.
That's my dad on the screen right there, John Ellis.
So, Miss Shivers,
yes,
do you feel there are doubts as it relates to Eugene as well?
Yes, Your Honor, maybe so.
Well, you want to hear it? That's I'm going to
You ain't never said that before. When I asked you who's my dad.
I'm telling the truth, so let's bring it on out. You may be seated.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is a case of Ellis versus Shivers and McClellan.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone. Mr. Ellis, you and your brother have brought your mother to court today because you say you've always believed the man in this photograph is your father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Then, just recently, you learned that your biological father may actually be your father's brother.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mrs. Shivers, you confess that you slept with both your ex-husband and his brother.
Yes, Your Honor.
You admit you kept that secret from your sons throughout their lives.
Yes, I did.
Now you say you're seeking DNA results to discover the truth and beg for their forgiveness.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Ellis, how did you find out your mother slept with your uncle and he may be your father?
Well, yes, Your Honor. We were at a family gathering, just having some drinks or whatever, and Uncle Ronnie came up to me and said, I'm your son. You're my son, right? So it was basically like a family get together. It was a family function. You know how people get when they, indulge or whatnot. I guess he overindulged and the truth came to light, so he
It's not the truth.
Well,
believe whatever you want to believe.
okay, we're leaving the door open. Believe what you want to
open
believe.
it up.
Assume what you want to assume.
Yeah.
He assumes Ronnie's his dad.
But what about you?
That's my dad on the screen right there, John Ellis. He got to be my dad.
So, Miss Shivers,
Yes.
you admit you slept with both brothers.
Yes, Your Honor, I did. I had no choice. I had nowhere to go. And I ended up at Mama Mildred's house where Ronnie lived. I lived there as well. We got intoxicated. We had a one-time thing, and that was it, which was a big mistake, Your Honor. But,
Things happen.
I had nowhere to lay my head, and we grew up together. We're best friends. I did what I had to do to keep a roof over the head for this one, for the Eugene.
But you know what? My mom did everything in her power and her will and everything to take care of us. I'm not here to crucify my mom or nothing like that, or it ain't nothing like that. We just want to know what's going on. My brother feels a certain way about something, so we're here to address that. We feel like he may have a different father. That's how I feel. I feel like because my dad did, you could tell he kind of treated him different from me.
Even you saw that
I
and
seen
felt
this
that.
growing up. Yes, I did. He want to know where he come from, who he is.
Yeah.
He didn't even write me that much when I was in jail, and he wrote him, send him money, so that made me feel way as well. Unfortunately, we had to take a trip down the road, and my dad, my father, he wrote me more than he did my brother. You know what I'm saying? And you don't do that if that's your child. You're supposed to be there through thick and thin like my mom. I heard from her every day of that place or that situation, but when we were in that situation, he didn't reach out to my brother at all, not really at all. So I understand.
And Ronnie's always been there, right?
Yeah,
Ronnie's always been there no matter what. He introduced me to his brother. I didn't even know he had a bigger brother.
So, you are pretty confident who your father is.
Yes.
The question really revolves around your brother.
Yes, I'm positive. John Ellis is my father. But if you look at me, and you look at my dad, if you had a full body shot of my dad, I'm slim like my dad. I'm built like my dad. My feet's like my dad. Arthur is big. He's a big guy right here. Uncle Ronnie is big. That's a big guy right there. They broad. I'm skinny. I'm slim,
Well,
his hair is different from my hair. If we got the same dad, okay, wouldn't you think that his texture, his hair would come out the same as mine? Because I got
Not necessarily.
Well, Your Honor, I was married to another man before I left and went to Detroit, and that's when I got pregnant with Eugene. So,
do you feel there are reasonable, credible doubts as it relates to Eugene as well?
yes, Your Honor, maybe so.
What?
Well, you want to hear it? That's I'm gonna.
You ain't never said that before. When I asked you who's my dad,
John Ellis.
you said John Ellis. So now it's a possibility somebody else might be my dad.
Well, you got tested, son. We're gonna bring it out. We'll bring it all out. I'm telling the truth, so let's bring it on out. Whatever my babies want to know, I'll let you know.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I
So
didn't
you're
know
saying,
that. See,
Eugene, you had absolutely no idea
no,
until
not
this
even a
very
possibility.
moment?
Until right now, not even a possibility somebody's gonna be my father.
Ms. Shivers, I want to make sure we're clear. You're now stating that you had been in a relationship before you got to Detroit, so you were in a relationship with both men in close proximity, and therefore there could be a doubt as it relates to Eugene's paternity as well.
Okay, they were basically trading me off. You don't trade off people like that. I was just used. I was shifted from one man to another man. So I had a hard life. I had to struggle in any kind of way it meant for me to stay alive. I stayed alive.
Yeah, Judge. My Uncle Ronnie, he's called me on my birthday, and he said, I don't know who I'm talking to, my son, or my nephew, one of you. Happy birthday, so.
And that's the way he said happy birthday?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm talking to my son or my nephew, but happy birthday.
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jerome, I think we need to meet Uncle Ronnie or Father Ronnie.
Uncle Daddy.
Uncle Daddy.
He calls him Uncle Daddy.
That's Uncle Daddy.
My goodness.
She said we only had sex once. She must have meant we only had sex once sober. You know what I mean? That's what she must have meant.
You remember.
Oh boy.
We understand John Ellis is a possible father. His brother, Mr. McClellan, is also a possible father. Are there any other possible fathers?
Yes, Your Honor.
In the case of Ellis v. Shivers McClellan, it has been determined by this court. You admit you slept with both brothers.
Yes, Your Honor, I did. We got intoxicated. We had a one-time thing, and that was it, which was a big mistake, Your Honor.
On the chair next to the judge on the bench. What's your step one of the steps?
Hello, sir. Please be seated. Mr. McClellan, thank you so much for joining us today. You know, we are here with Eugene and Arthur talking about the issues surrounding their paternity. And we're also here hearing testimony from Ms. Shivers that she's trying to make sense of all of the confusion. She said she slept with you and your brother. And now you may potentially be Arthur's father. Do you agree with this? Is this your understanding that you could potentially be this young man's biological father?
Yes.
It is.
Yes.
Please take me back. How did you come to know or realize that this young man could be your biological child?
My brother had put her and Eugene out, and they came back to Chicago and lived with me. And while they were living with me, she said we only had sex once. She must have meant we only had sex once sober. You know what I mean? That's what she must have meant, because she can't even remember the first time.
Well, you remember.
Oh boy. Really?
No more details needed.
Okay.
So, the period window of conception, it was during the time you were in Chicago with Mr. McClellan.
Yes.
Understood.
Yes.
But
And
Judge, John Ellis is on my birth certificate. So,
he is.
yeah.
You have a copy of that birth certificate?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to see that, please. So, Mr. McClellan, we're looking at Arthur's birth certificate. John Ellis is listed as father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, we understand John Ellis is a possible father, and he's also listed on his birth certificate because you say he demanded so when he came to the hospital.
Yes.
His brother, Mr. McClellan, is also a possible father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Are there any other, and I must ask you this respectfully, are there any other possible fathers?
Yes, Your Honor.
There's so much going on, but as the story continues to unfold, there are more potential fathers.
Yeah, I never heard this story about Cool Breeze possibly being Arthur's dad. I never heard that.
In the case of Arthur Ellis v. Shivers McClellan, pertaining to whether John Ellis or his brother is your biological father.
You need on the bedroom door. I didn't even know the child had been born for over a week.
You laugh.
She lied to the doctors, lied to the hospital, and lied to me.
I'm done with this.
You may have a different father. That's how I feel.
Are there any other possible fathers?
Yes, Your Honor. Cool Breeze. I met him when I was waitressing in the restaurant, and he ran a big hotel. And he also, gave me jobs and stuff. That's when Eugene was like about 4 or 5. We had a couple of little nights, where we had a few drinks and we did have intimacy. He died, that might be a possibility because when I was staying at Mama Mildred's with Ronnie and everybody, I went and supplied food and did whatever, right, Ronnie? Bought everything for the house, Mama Mildred's medicine, all of that. He was the one who hired me. He was giving me the jobs. So we did have yes, Your Honor.
Yeah, I never heard this story about Cool Breeze possibly being Arthur's dad. I never heard that.
I can see there's just been so much history and just hurt after hurt and then confusion after confusion and secrecy after secrecy, and your mother's openly saying, I was in a different space and time and trying to stay alive. I'm dating these older men. I'm this young woman. There's so much going on. But as the story continues to unfold, there are more potential fathers.
Yes, Your Honor.
So now, as you say, with Eugene, potentially there could be another man that could be his father. And now with Arthur, we have 3 potential fathers, Cool Breeze, Mr. McClellan, and John Ellis.
Yes, and that's his given name, Cool Breeze, Melvin Cool Breeze.
Yeah, but Cool Breeze.
I had a lot of friends, Your Honor. It wasn't like I was out there just
He was
tramping.
blacker than night. If that was his dad, he'd come out a little darker.
Well, we saw in a case earlier today, that's not the case. Am I right, Jerome?
Correct.
Children come in all shapes, sizes, and colors. Ultimately, what brings us here today is a paternity issue.
Yes.
Many paternity issues.
Yes, Your Honor. That's why I want babies to say whatever they need to say.
I need us to have the same dad.
Well, they're going to show you guys have the same father.
You say you need
Yeah.
you and your brother to have the same dad? I see you're emotional. What are you feeling? You say you need that.
Gotta have the same dad. It's emotional to both of us. We got into it, last night over it, but we just here to find out our identity.
So they can go on.
And so this not knowing, this confusion is making issue with you as brothers.
Everything was based on a whole bunch of lies, and what we thought was the truth of what we were told and grew up thinking. Come to find out, it ain't,
Because I try to protect them with a little white lie here and there. You don't understand, Eugene.
want the truth.
Back in the 70s, it was a nightmare to go through, son.
Regardless of whatever, I just want you to know, Mom, I'm proud to be a half-breed man. You hear me? I'm proud. I wouldn't be black. I wouldn't be white. I'll be exactly what I am today, and I love it. My kids is bright just like me, and I love it. I wouldn't have it no other way. I love you.
That's why you
what happened right here today, you was our dad. You are our dad. So this don't mean nothing.
Arthur, honey, love you.
Love you too.
Love you. And you boys better get it together. Hug each other. No more of this nonsense. Don't hurt yourself. Very hard, Your Honor. I'm still, like you're 5 years old, I'm still guiding guiding all my children, all of them, except the oldest.
We don't want you two fighting. We don't want you two arguing over this, regardless of what the results.
He was kind of saying some things about my father that I didn't like. You know, since we've had this revelation or whatnot, he ain't been talking too kindly about my dad, and I don't like that. You know, I mean,
Okay, well, don't get worked back up in the courtroom, because we don't want. We want you all to remember at all times that regardless of what these results are, this is your mother. You are brothers.
Yes, ma'am.
And you should love each other as such. Are you ready for the results?
Yes, ma'am.
We're going to go to the results for Eugene first. These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows.
That's my dad.
You learned in this courtroom for the first time that your mother said John Ellis may not be your biological father.
That's my daddy.
Here are the results. In the case of Eugene Ellis v. Shivers McClellan, pertaining to whether John Ellis is your biological father, it has been determined by this court John Ellis is your father.
I knew that. I said that from the beginning. I knew that. Look at me. Look at him.
Okay. I have the results for Arthur as well. Are you ready?
Yes, Judge.
Okay. In the case of Arthur Ellis v. Shivers McClellan, pertaining to whether John Ellis or his brother Ronald McClellan is your biological father, it has been determined by this court John Ellis So, gentlemen, you have the truth. What you gonna do now?
You need to take a paternity.
To be better for this child.
On the next floor, next paternity court. She put a padlock on the bedroom door.
Did you lock your husband out too?
I didn't trust him and didn't want him in that room.
I didn't even know the child had been born for over a week.
You left.
She lied to the doctors, lied to the hospital, and lied to me.
I'm done with this.
Testing for paternity court provided by DNA Diagnostics Center.
Uncle Ronnie came up to me and said, "You know you're my son, right? You may have a different father." That's how I feel.
John Ellis is your father. I have the results for Arthur as well. Are you ready?
Yes, Judge.
In the case of Arthur Ellis v. Shivers McClellan, pertaining to whether John Ellis or his brother Ronald McClellan is your biological father, it has been determined by this court John Ellis is your father. I know what I did. I would get Ellis.
I needed that. You hear me? I was ready to go put it in.
I know, that's why I'm here.
Sorry, Mom.
It's all right. I told you boys the truth.
So, gentlemen, you have the truth. This is the truth you wanted.
Yeah, I knew it.
You brothers by your mother and your father. Now you got the same mother and father. What you gonna do now? How about just get along, okay? I'm so happy for you. Court is adjourned.
Doesn't your brother look like me?
Both of us.
So you took your dad's side, he took my side, right?
Yeah.
Told you children, that's how it goes.
This right here, this is great. I mean, same day. That's I want it anyway. So they're all good.
Well, it's got you.
I was 3 months old.
But she's still my daughter, Your Honor.
You got my dad.
I was there at the hospital when she was born.
You didn't take me when she asked you.
No, please.
I took this child and watched them draw blood from her to try to determine who her father was. Never once was Mr. Hampton tested. You don't remember him being... I've never heard his name in my life.
I'm glad that her adopted parents were able to take her, Your Honor. I worried about her all the time.
That is in the picture. This has got to be the most incredible mystery that we've ever heard in this courtroom. Please be seated.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is a case of Brown versus Hampton.
Thank you, Jerome.
You're welcome.
Good day, everyone. Miss Brown, you stand before the court with your mother, Alicia Brown. You say your world was recently turned upside down when you were contacted by a man whom you've never even heard of before, claiming to be your birth father. Now, that man, Mr. Hampton, is waiting in our courtroom hallway, and he will join us in a moment. Now, he claims he has evidence to prove he is, in fact, your biological father. Now, what happened when you were first contacted by Mr. Hampton? How did you even hear from him?
Well, first and foremost, I'm adopted. I was adopted when I was 3 months old, so I have no idea who my extended family is or my biological mother. I was recently contacted by someone claiming to be my sister on what's called Instagram. And from there, he messaged me on Facebook. And he said, Kayla, I think I finally found your Facebook. Please let me know. I have no idea how much you or your adoption parents know about how things were, but I'll be more than willing to answer your questions that they may have, and I have pictures also. Talk to you later. As if you already knew.
Wow. And so what were you thinking when you read that?
Who are you?
So you never met this man?
No.
Never heard of him?
Nope.
And next thing you know, he's on your Facebook saying, I'm your birth father.
Yeah, he's not my dad.
Wow. Well, Jerome, I think it's time we meet Mr. Hampton. What a story.
Hello, Mr. Hampton.
Hello, Mr. Hampton. Thank you for joining us today.
Hello, Your Honor.
Thank you for being here. So, we just heard an amazing story from Miss Brown.
I've been looking for my daughter for 20 years, Your Honor.
Okay.
I was in love with her mother, Your Honor, and
You all were in a relationship.
yes, we were in a relationship, Your Honor, and she was pregnant, Your Honor. This was my first child. I'm the one that gave her name, Your Honor. I did everything that I...
So you were participating in this pregnancy and in the birth?
You know, I moved to Alaska to be with her mother while she was pregnant, and I was there at the hospital when she was born.
I'm confused. If you did all that stuff, I don't know why I'm here with my mom today and not with you. I just don't. I don't get it. To be honest. I'm just being honest.
Your mother was going through some problems. I had the opportunity to take you when I met her at the mall. I didn't know whether she wanted me to take you permanently. I could take you at the time. I had to go back to Seattle. But I cried every minute on the plane.
Do you have any proof of this?
This is it, God. This is the toys that I first bought her before they left, Your Honor.
Jerome, hand me the evidence, please. Thank you. So this is a picture of the person you say is Miss Brown's birth mother.
Yes, Your Honor.
And she's pregnant.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
I've kept this photo for years, Your Honor, because I knew someday that I would find her, Your Honor.
And who's in this photo, Mr. Hampton?
That's me That's my daughter here, and that's her mother, Your Honor.
So, Miss Brown, what are you thinking as you see these photos?
Hey, look at that baby. That could be you or you. It's just, there's nothing that distinguishingly says it's me. Maybe if I had that wrap that was around that baby. Maybe if I had
So
something.
when you look at these pictures, you don't feel a connection because in your mind you're saying there's nothing identifiable that says it's me.
Yeah, nothing.
This is my daughter in those. That's my daughter in those pictures, Your Honor.
Okay, and listen, that may be true that in the picture, the baby you're holding is your daughter. But why are you so sure that it is Ms. Brown?
I know her birth date, and I knew the situation surrounding it.
Okay, now we're getting somewhere. So the exact date of Ms. Brown's birth is the exact date of your Kayla's birth.
Exactly, Your Honor.
And you named this baby Kayla.
Exactly, Your Honor.
Okay. When's the last time you saw her? Before today, if this is in fact your daughter.
I haven't seen her since she was about 2 weeks old, Your Honor.
About 2 weeks old.
2 weeks old, Your Honor.
In your statement to the court, you said you have a picture of her at 2 years old. How did you get that picture?
Your Honor, when I went back to Alaska, Your Honor, I came across her mother, Your Honor, and her birth mother gave this picture to me.
Jerome, let me see this picture. Her birth mother, so you went back to Washington and you came back to Alaska, and her birth mother gave you this picture.
Yes, Your Honor. And I still have that. I've kept that photo on my wall for the last 20 years, Your Honor.
This picture.
I've kept that photo on my wall.
And she's 2 years old.
And she's 2 years old, Your Honor.
So this is a picture of, wow. So this picture of the young baby girl that you say is your daughter, Kayla, has been up on the wall in your home.
Exactly, Your Honor.
I don't know if that's.
Ms. Brown, is this a picture of you?
She's dead.
I think it looks like me. Yeah. It has a little devious smile that I had.
This is amazing. Have you ever seen this picture?
No.
It looks like you to me. It looks like your eyebrows. And look, I don't know the results of the test either. So I am here inside this mystery with you. And I want to figure it out for you.
I know that is my daughter, Your Honor.
I am curious to know how her biological mother got that picture.
Oh, okay, wait.
I've never heard this name in my life.
In the case of Brown v. Hampton. Mr. Hampton, you have desperately waited for this answer. You.
3 months old?
That's me. That's my daughter here.
Look at that baby. That could be you or you.
Your Honor, I contacted social services, Your Honor, and I told them that, I didn't want my daughter to be adopted. They told me that I needed to get a paternity test, Your Honor.
I don't know why. I mean, I'm 20. I'm 20 years old.
But she's still my daughter, Your Honor.
That's a long time to go without seeing your child you love so much.
I've been looking for you for 20 years. I've searched everywhere.
I want to hear from your adoptive mother. Ms. Brown, please stand. And first ask you, have you ever seen this picture of your daughter?
Yes, I have.
You have?
I have, and I'm curious to know how her biological mother got that picture.
Oh, okay, wait. So you know this to be your daughter?
Yes, that's my daughter.
But
I never gave that picture to anybody, and I don't know where. We've had Kayla since she was 3 months old.
So when you adopted her, did you have any information given to you about a father?
There's no one listed as a father on.
What are you reading?
Her adoption papers.
May I see that, please?
Yes.
Your Honor, I got child support papers right here, Your Honor. State Alaska was collecting child support from before.
Wait a minute. Oh,
So
hold that piece of evidence. Let me just see this first.
I took this child several different times, at least for sure 3 times, if not 4 times, in for blood tests.
Okay.
And watched them draw blood from her to try to determine who her father was. And they never could determine who the father was. So they kept listing different men. Okay, now we think this is the father. Can you please bring her in for another test? And I'd take her in, and then, I mean, at this
They
time,
never came to me.
I understand your emotion. The thought of being a mother and bringing your baby in to have blood drawn to try to figure out who their father is, I know that was really tough. And yet you're telling me 3 or 4 men were tested.
Yes.
And every test.
Yeah, because we wouldn't have been able to legally adopt her. We had her from the time she was 3 weeks old. She came to us. Normally, we're foster parents, and I normally wouldn't take an infant in because I knew I'd be attached to them.
Mm-hmm.
But it was supposed to be just a weekend. Then it turned into a week, and then I'm like, oh God, please,
don't take her.
Don't take her from us. And we went on for 2 years of trying to determine it because legally they could not.
So hold on, I just want to be clear. Out of the 3 to 4 times that you took your baby Kayla, Miss Brown, in to be tested so they could try to establish paternity, never once was Mr. Hampton tested. You don't remember him being...
I've never heard his name.
Never heard his name. Now, I want to confirm from you, Mr. Hampton, were you ever tested in the past? Were you ever contacted as a potential biological father for this baby to be tested?
No, ma'am, no, I wasn't.
The order names you as the father.
Is my name on there?
I didn't know where her mother was.
How did you not have contact if she gave you a picture of her too?
Do you feel like Mr. Hampton is her biological father? In the case of Brown v. Hampton, pertaining to 20-year-old Kayla Brown.
To him that I cheated.
You want to tell me, oh, well, this is not your baby?
He threw all the baby clothes.
Yeah, I made it rain. There was onesies on the roof, there was onesies across the street, there was onesies everywhere.
We've had Kayla since she was 3 months old.
I didn't want my daughter to be adopted.
He's not my dad.
They had me paying child support, Your Honor.
Let me see that
They
paperwork.
do.
That doesn't make sense.
You were paying child support.
That's what
Don't they have to determine paternity to be able to make you pay child support?
No.
Yeah, you do have to have a paternity affidavit.
So then they must have proved that I was your father then. There could have been another man.
I wouldn't have been able to adopt
All right,
Kayla
so
if they...
here on this page it says, the paperwork you completed states that there is an order for child support in Alaska and that the order names you as the father.
Is my name on there?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
I mean, my biological mom I have biological siblings that are literally consecutive years under me.
Yes.
There is no other man, Your Honor. We were together every day. I've celebrated her birthday every single year, Your Honor. I've always put her name on the cakes, Your Honor. Because, Your Honor,
Jerome, let me
I didn't forget about her, Your Honor.
Every year you put her name on a birthday cake.
That's right, Your Honor. Because I wanted to show her, because I knew someday that I would find her, and I wanted to show her that I've been looking for her, Your Honor.
And do you have any paperwork to prove that you were reaching out to social service?
Your Honor, I gave you the letter from Social Services, Your Honor.
Department of Health and Social Services. In May 1994, dear Mr. Hampton, 2 phone messages from you. And I don't have a number to contact. Please be advised that you need to establish paternity of Kayla King, and we can discuss reunification.
Exactly, Your Honor, and that's what I did, Your Honor. But when I tried to do that, they wanted her mother, Your Honor, to take part in this, Your Honor. I didn't know where her mother was.
How did you not have contact if she gave you a picture of her too?
And look, Mr. Hampton, can you not understand their doubt? They've never heard of you.
Your Honor, they didn't even know.
You don't understand the doubt.
What's your name in my life?
I have this birth certificate, and my parents are on it. I don't see your name on it. I don't know.
Those are your adoptive parents that are on that birth certificate.
Which are my parents.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Your Honor, my name is on her original birth certificate, Your Honor. They had me paying child support for her. I was there. I'm the one that gave you your name.
Where were you through all these months that Kayla was with us as a foster child and they were trying to find out who the father was?
Do you feel like Mr. Hampton is her biological father?
I mean, honestly, I kind of feel like you are, but you didn't take me when she asked you. You know? I don't care for how long. It does. You know, even if you couldn't, I look at my son.
I had no place.
It doesn't live in a car. You know, go to a shelter. There's so many resources.
Let me just say this. This has got to be the most incredible mystery that we've ever heard in this courtroom. Right? But the only way we're going to be able to move forward is to get the results.
That'd be nice. That'd be really nice.
Your Honor.
Jerome, the envelope? Yes, sir. Would you like to say one more thing before we get to the results?
I've gone through a lot in the last 20 years, Your Honor. This is my life, Your Honor. I've made some bad choices, Your Honor, but I've never run from any of my children, Your Honor. I've ran to them, Your Honor. And that's why I'm here today, right here in court. Everything that she has felt all of her life, Your Honor, I felt the same thing, Your Honor. I felt all the hurt, everything, Your Honor.
I see your heart is breaking. I really do. I can see the emotion written all over your face.
I'm glad that her adopted parents were able to take her, Your Honor. I worried about her all the time.
And I've had a great home.
I owe that to your adopted parents for having you.
Well, are we ready for the results? These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. If anyone would like to take a seat, they can. In the case of Brown v. Hampton, pertaining to 20-year-old Kayla Brown, Mr. Hampton, you have desperately waited for this answer. You I'm trying to motivate you all to be better for this child.
On the next paternity court.
You thought she was carrying your child?
Correct.
I admitted to him that I cheated.
Yeah, she's scandalous. You want to tell me, oh, well, this is not your baby.
He threw all the baby clothes.
Yeah, I made it rain. There was onesies on the roof, there was onesies across the street, there was onesies everywhere.
Testing for paternity court provided by DNA Diagnostics Center.
Never once was Mr. Hampton tested. You don't remember him being...
I've never heard his
You never heard his name?
But she's still my daughter, Your Honor.
In the case of Brown v. Hampton, pertaining to 20-year-old Kayla Brown, Mr. Hampton, you have desperately waited for this answer. You are not her father.
That can't be right, Your Honor.
But that isn't even a picture.
I don't know what's going on here, Your Honor.
This is where paternity secrets destroy our lives and our perceptions and what we believe to be true, because it may, in fact, and it unfortunately, obviously is true, that her biological mother was involved with someone else besides you during that time.
I wanted to bring some closure to myself, Your Honor. This had to be done, Your Honor. It had to be done, and I'm sorry that things didn't work out.
Don't be sorry. It's okay. I'm good. I'm fine.
And ultimately, Ms. Brown, Kayla, that's what we want to know, that you're okay.
That's
And that's what he wanted to know.
exactly, Your Honor.
So with that said, court is adjourned. Take care, everyone. That was a shock.
I think that I convinced myself at first that he wasn't in the courtroom. I then convinced myself that he was, that he wasn't.
I feel very thankful that she's in a good home.
Today on Paternity Court.
Your marriage is on the line because
My
of
marriage
him.
is passed on the line.
Did you know he was married?
She come telling me that, she's pregnant.
At what point did you hear